Assassins are meant to be quiet, precise. We do not go announcing conspiracies from the rooftops to all who pass by. Achilles Davenport, December 1777. Hello, I'm Andrew, and I want to welcome you to Visions of the Past, a podcast all about the lore of Assassin's Creed. This is episode 92, and today we're going to talk about something that we mention at the end of every single podcast: the Assassin's Creed. The Creed is present throughout the whole series and consists of its general maxim and 3 tenets. Because of how often it's present in the series, it's not something that is best described by going through each point in history where they are spoken about or appear. After we discuss the maxim and the tenets of the Creed, we're also going to get into the ironies of the Creed. The first thing that we have to talk about is the maxim of the Assassin Brotherhood. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted. A phrase which was paraphrased from the 1938 historical fiction novel Alamut by Vladimir Bartol about Hassan Isaba, the founder of the Nizari Ismaili state and the historical Hassassin, which served as an inspiration for the first Assassin's Creed story. Phrased in the novel as, "Nothing is an absolute reality, all is permitted," it was the highest truth of the Ismaili. But what does it mean for the series itself? While it might seem that it's a sentence used in the series to give the assassins the authority to do what they please, it goes deeper than that. This kind of thought process is best shown by Edward Kenway before he was inducted into the Order of Assassins. He was told the maxim by Mary Read and was told that it was the world's only certainty. Upon hearing the phrase, Kenway remarked that he liked the sound of it, that he can think as he likes and act how he pleases. But after Mary's death, his mentality had shifted, telling Atabai that if nothing is true, then why believe anything? And if everything is permitted, why not chase every desire? When asked to elaborate, Edward stated that the maxim might be the beginning of wisdom, not its final form. It was also mentioned 500 years earlier by Altair ibn La'ahad, when Al-Mu'allim asked him what it meant to transcend. He stated, "To recognize nothing is true and everything is permitted, that laws arise not from divinity, but reason. I understand now that our creed does not command us to be free. It commands us to be wise." Overall, though, it was best summed up by Ezio Auditore in a conversation that he had with his future wife, Sophia Sartor, when he said, "To say nothing is true is to realize that the foundations of society are fragile and that we must be the shepherds of our own civilization. To say that everything is permitted is to understand that we are the architects of our actions and that we must live with the consequences, whether glorious or tragic." The maxim would be nothing without its 3 tenets, though. But what are they? The 3 tenets are as follows. 1. Stay your blade from the flesh of an innocent. 2. Hide in plain sight. And 3. Never compromise the Brotherhood. While the tenets are fairly straightforward, there is some subtlety within them. The first tenet, for instance, stay your blade from the flesh of an innocent, basically says, don't kill those who did no wrong. But why? What if you let someone live who could rat you out, as Altair worried about when he was in Solomon's Temple in 1191? Killing this innocent man not only left a body to be discovered, possibly causing others to spread the news of an assassin, along with the chaos of a random body. The goal of the assassins is to ensure peace in all things, and an innocent death goes against that, but it also goes against the reputation that the assassins try to cultivate. The assassins prefer to be perceived as precise killers, that they only kill the corrupt to bring peace and security to the common people, and not one of indiscriminate butchers. While the second tenet, hide in plain sight, does come off as don't get caught, it means more than that. Going unseen gives the illusion that the assassin materializes from nowhere, kills a corrupt public figure, and then just vanishes, almost as if the one who was assassinated just dropped at a thought. This is probably best shown in the novel Assassin's Creed Renaissance. In this novel, the citizens of Florence wish for Ezio's return, because of the corruption of Savonarola, not realizing he was in the crowd with them. Besides building the reputation of the assassins, if they got caught before killing their target, they take the chance of not being able to even reach their target. The third and final tenet is pretty obvious. Never compromise the brotherhood. Meaning, for no reason, never do anything that would bring harm to the brotherhood as a whole. Best place to see this is when Altair failed in Solomon's temple. Not only did his actions get Kadar killed and Malik maimed, he led the Crusader army to Masyaf, causing the whole city to end up under siege. When Altair wrote his codex, he recognized that within their creed, there were three ironies of the Assassin's Creed. 1. The assassins seek to promote peace, but commit murder. 2. The assassins seek to open the minds of men, but require obedience to rules. And 3. The assassins seek to reveal the danger of blind faith, yet practice it themselves. The ironies do seem to be hypocritical to the assassins' cause, but overall they do not undermine their goals. Instead of undermining them, the assassins embrace this contradiction because of the importance of knowledge within their creed. Think of it this way. Because the maxim of the Assassin's Creed commands them to be wise, they are able to recognize and embrace the contradictions. Each irony does have its own contradiction, though. Seeking peace through murder is an easy one to see. How can killing someone cause peace when the immediate aftermath sees so much chaos? When the dust settles and the corrupt is removed from power, the idea that someone in power who is looking out for the best interests in all the people, instead of himself or a select few, will bring a lasting peace. Requiring obedience to rules with the goal of opening the minds of men seems like it's not a possibility. That would require a person with an open mind to open the minds of others, and that obedience to rules would hinder that goal. The difference here is the assassins choose to be obedient to the rules of the order, knowing that they are in place so the assassins may thrive and continue to help others open their minds. For it's as Arno Dorian once said, ideas too easily give way to dogma. Dogma becomes fanaticism. Only we can decide whether the road we walk carries too high a toll. All that we do, all that we are, begins and ends with ourselves. The final contradiction is how can one reveal the danger of blind faith, yet practice it themselves? This contradiction is not exactly how it seems, though. The assassins are asked to put their faith in their leadership and within the creed, but to also reveal the dangers of what blind faith can do. There are instances where assassin leadership was drastically changed because they stopped adhering to the creed, which calls for a wisdom in their followers and not blind faith in someone. Take, for example, Altair's assassination of Al-Mu'allim after the end of his hunt for the Nine. He found out that Al-Mu'allim was corrupted and no longer followed the creed, took it upon himself to remove him from leadership, and started to reform the order to be more knowledgeable for themselves and not rely on the faith of any one person or thing. And it's the faith and knowledge that leads them to point out issues with blind faith. Just because the creed requires the assassins to be wise does not mean that there are not repercussions for breaking its tenets. Time and time again, we see the breaker of any of the tenets executed, and usually it's a public affair. We see this most notably after Altair's failure in Solomon's temple, where Al-Mu'allim publicly stabbed him. Instead of killing his body, though, he killed his reputation and sent him on the hunt for the Nine to redeem himself. We also see it after Perotto Caldron revealed his love for Lucrezia Borgia and their son Giovanni, along with the fact that he was an undercover assassin. This act in 1489 led the Brotherhood to hunt him down and eventually assassinate him. There are some instances, though, where the breaking of the tenets did not result in death. In 1511, one of Ezio's Ottoman apprentices broke the first tenet by rashly assassinating a cleric instead of Cyril of Rhodes, but instead of his death, Ezio required him to reflect on his mistake so it wouldn't happen again the next time they went after Cyril. Another major instance was in 1793, after Arno Dorian repeatedly assassinated targets without consulting the council, possibly compromising the Brotherhood, but they chose to exile him instead of taking his life. while the tenets of the creed are pretty cut and dry, its maxim and ironies are more open to philosophical debate and allows for the assassin to think for themselves, which is really what the assassin brotherhood really is about and what they attempt to bring to the people. Without the creed, the assassins would be nothing but a group of people that want to do nothing but sow chaos and destroy the world. But with the creed at the center of the brotherhood, they stand for something more than just wanton murder. But what do you think about the Assassin's Creed and its ironies? Let me know over on Twitter at visions_AC. Thank you for joining me today. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday for new episodes. If you love stories about Assassin's Creed lore, please tell your friends and follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting platform. Want to support this podcast and help provide new episodes? I'd love for you to buy me a cup of coffee at bit.ly/visionscoffee. If you have any questions about Assassin's Creed or topics that you'd like me to cover, please feel free to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at visions_AC, or you can check out my brand new TikTok at Visions of the Past Podcast, and you can find those links in the show notes below. Until next time, my assassin friends, make sure to follow the creed, and to those Templars listening, may the Father of Understanding guide you.